It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. God, it's Feedback Friday. I'm pre-recording Feedback Friday early this week. First of all, yes, some people expressed disappointment there's no Manly Monday this week. I'm sorry, I got back too late. I talked about this on Wednesday, but some people don't watch Wednesdays. So, Manly Monday will return next week. Right now, I think we're going to talk about anger. We're going to do Angry Week next week. And specifically targeted at like kind of the demonization of male anger on Monday, and then healthy anger in general, because it's come up a lot lately. I'm going to write that down now because I promised it. And I'm writing it in a way that I won't be able to read later, but that's okay. It's the attempt. I'm going to do the pledge. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it. Ko-fi.com/LeannaK. We made our Ko-fi goal this week. Yay. We made it. Thank you. Let's keep it going. I gave the patrons this week the inside scoop on my trip down to Arkansas. So that's fun. This is the stuff. They got a video while I was down there at an arcade called The Vortex, which was an awesome retro arcade. Anyway, moving on to your comments. This is going to be a bit of a mixed bag. I get to pick comments because there was no Manly Monday. I get to pick comments that normally wouldn't like make the cut. So this is awesome. From Two Women Talking, the one great thing about Legends of Tomorrow Season 1 was Captain Cold. You are correct, Captain Cold. And Heatwave Captain Cold was awesome. They did some fun things with Rory, is that his name? Yeah, too many Rorys on TV because Rory from Doctor Who plays... Yeah, anyway. Yeah, they did some funny things with him, but I liked their duo. And yes, Captain Cold was good that season. Accurate. And I normally don't do a lot of feedback from Two Women Talking just because Song's not here. But I do want to address some comments this week because they're interesting and because in some cases, yeah, let's do it and then we'll keep it in order. Sorry, I'm really tired and scattered. This was about non-standard pronouns, and this is a thing that comes up a lot. It's of the form, you're referring to something specific. I will extrapolate it because I don't have personal experience in what you're talking about. Therefore, you must be talking about my experience. And I don't know what to do about this because it happens all the time, and I know it's something that people do, but I don't know how to respond other than to point it out. Because here's the comment. Non-standard pronouns are not intrinsically a problem, and I rarely see the things you mention causing anyone to freak out. Don't throw blame at people who just don't like non-standard pronouns. The devil is in the details. No one threw blame at people who just don't like non-standard pronouns. We were specifically referring to the people that go to fucking war over them. Jordan Peterson loses his fucking shit over non-standard pronouns, okay? It's not, that's weird, but I'll call you what you want to be called. No! He spills ink and makes videos, and that is freaking out. If you want to have a discussion about how they, them, for instance, is cumbersome in English, I don't agree. When I was a kid, I used they, them as a singular all the time and got trained out of it. So now I'm taking it back. But that's a thing that reasonable people can disagree on. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who think that that they, them singular is some sort of gender ideology that is harming children. And yes, there are people who believe that. The fact that anybody is fighting over pronouns at all is obscene. And I was, don't forget, I just came back from Arkansas. And I talked to people who, were in for an event. And they usually went by they, them. When they were down in the South, they went by gendered pronouns. Even though they don't prefer it, they did it for safety. So yes, people freak out. And people making content can do nothing. Oh, logician. Sarcasm. I take that back. But this is a frustration to me. Okay, if you want to persuade, accurately depict what the person said. Don't accuse them of something they didn't do. They, them singular. And then expect them to listen to you. For instance, don't throw blame at people who just don't like non-standard pronouns. We're not. I rarely see the things you mention causing anyone to freak out, in quotes, because that's what we were talking about. People freaking out. Don't take something we did say, turn it into something we didn't say, accuse us of throwing blame at the people we weren't referencing, and then expect your argument to be persuasive. You are on my channel. You are in my house. At this point, people should know that don't go far with me. And I'm pointing this out and expressing a bit of frustration because this is not just one person. Like there's a reason I don't say names on comments, because this is not something just one person does. This is a heuristic. This is a leap in logic that drives me crazy. Because people walk away thinking we said something we didn't say and think something we didn't think because of a leap they took. And we can do nothing about that. But we have to bear the consequences of that. And on that note, I'm moving on to a comment that I'm going to ask for something. This isn't a rule, but I'm going to ask for something. Please don't take two women talking and think that just because we have guests occasionally, that it's just going to be the guest show. Somebody left a comment about if you could find another woman who you can have conversations of video games with. I'd love that. Another woman? No. Okay. I invited Song to do two women talking with me because she is Song. And I get very defensive when people take cracks at people who come on my channel. That wasn't an intentional crack. But when you think about how it was worded, somebody reading that's going to sting. And it pissed me off, I admit. And like I said, I'm being defensive here. So this is not saying it was intentional. I'm just saying this is the reaction I had. I feel statement. And I am declaring that I'm being defensive because I may come on too strong here. But the choices on my YouTube channel are mine. And anybody who comes on this channel is volunteering their time. They don't sign up for some of the rough stuff that I tolerate. And I'd appreciate people not speaking about the format of two women talking as if anyone could do what Song does. Because I have been trying for years somebody who could match wits, one, and who is different enough to make that particular format work. Now, the eventual plan is to spin that off into its own podcast. And would I like to get back to more gaming stuff? Sure. Here's the problem. Whenever I touched on gaming stuff, it resulted in weeks of toxicity that was good for traffic, but that's just not where my head is at now. The toxicity is not worth the traffic for me. And it's impossible to predict how people are going to react to things. And people's games are, the games people love are very, very important to them, and they take things personally that are not personal. And I respect that. I do it to some cases. I mean, I'm having a real mood with the Last of Us TV show, and now I'm completely questioning whether, you know, the original Last of Us game did have the emotional punch that I thought it did, because the show is just going places that we all sort of inferred from the game. And then to see where the series left, it just, that whole first game feels like something of an illusion or a mirage. And I'm really struggling with that. But that, see, I can challenge. I can say things are less than perfect about stuff I love and still love it. Not everybody's there. And one, I don't want to upset anyone. One of the suggestions about gaming content that someone suggested was, you know, Dark Souls style games. But I play Dark Souls style games. I love Dark Souls style games. I beat Millennia in Elden Ring this week, single player. Cred. And I put on the helmet, even though it was less spec, because I beat that. Oh man, did that boss fight suck. But the minute I say anything about my opinions about Elden Ring or any other game like that, people go crazy. And I get why. I get that the games press has been utterly ignorant about those games. And I get that when you do something on a game like that, people come in my channel who don't know me. And I mean, you know, what I might do is actually capture some gameplay and talk over it. Like, look, I played the game. Because the first thing I get is, you didn't play the game. You know, yeah, I have. So maybe I'll do like late game stuff. Show, no, this is my gameplay. See, behold, and then talk about Elden Ring. I don't know. Because I have deep thoughts. But I mean, and this is the problem. Like, it's funny because when people say that fair criticism of other media properties gets covered up in accusations of bigotry and all that stuff, but then when the games press is too hard on a game for stupid reasons, why shouldn't there an easy mode? People should be able to play the story. You have to piece together the story. Like, the point of playing these games is the challenge. You only really pick up on things because it's again and again and again. And so you pick up little details of, oh, okay, this person's portrait is there. So this faction, something happened over here. You know what I mean? You have to seek out the story. What story? What story mode? Ignorant comment, right? And so nobody can give nuanced commentary about, say, the loot system in Elden Ring without somebody just getting upset because they're reacting to the unfair criticism and they're feeling besieged. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And I have no idea what to do about the double empathy gap in gaming, because as a hardcore gamer who plays stupidly hard games and is somebody who, you know, is ostensibly female, I get it from both fucking sides because, yes, I like She-Hulk because I have experienced those things. That is not saying all men are like that, but I have experienced those things and it was nice to be able to laugh about it. Blah! You know, I play Elden Ring and I don't think there should be an easy mode. If you don't like it, don't play it. No game is for everyone. Blah! Dealing one-on-one with people's mental health struggles is a joy compared to that. So if you wonder why I have moved into general men's issues or, just general wellness issues or just talking about women's stuff, is that the cross section isn't there, so it's not as toxic. So we can have a discussion about how to do it. Maybe it's strictly a Patreon thing. I don't know. So people coming in knowing exactly what they're getting into. Because I'd love to do more gaming content. I said that. But it's just... there's no point if only the minority is actually hearing what I'm saying. I don't do things for hate clicks. I don't do shit for clout, despite what people say. And I'm just not interested. I don't care. I'm not interested in the fighting. I'm not interested in being popular. I have to work on that. But, that's the issue. And I'm going to seg into that with, it's a comment that sort of segs in because it's about a character confusing being interesting with being likable. We've talked about this in the past, but this was a good comment, so I'm going to bring it up now. One source of a character being a hot mess, from Two Talking, is when the writer or the creator of a character confuses being interesting with being likable. For example, Galadriel from Rings of Power, starting off as a Captain Ahab type character who has to learn the dangers of revenge, is an interesting character arc, but it's not a likable character. So when the audience initially doesn't love or like a character, that can set off a vicious cycle of the audience and creator fighting with each other, which drives people away from a character instead of letting people think about a character and coming to appreciate the character, even if the character is never likable. And that's true. But I can name a bazillion male characters that start off as, for me, horrendously unlikable. And that gets defended because it's the beginning of their story. The number of womanizer as character flaw. Oh, by the way, we can put in naked ladies off the top. It just gets old. It's not that isn't a viable character point. If that's a story you're telling, I'll argue the merits of Silent Hill 2 and the psychosexual guilt with the nurses and Pyramid Head till the cows come home. I think that's a worthy story. But in a lot of those properties, the main character never actually faces the problem with his womanizing. Tony Stark, Star-Lord, Doctor Strange is a massive dick, never stops being a massive dick, and now he's influencing teenagers. Or even the one thing that is bugging me on The Last of Us TV series versus the game is I really saw the edge on Joel in the game. The one thing the game has done better than the show, in my opinion, is that Joel actually seems closed off and dangerous and kind of selfish and shut down in the game. Way more than in the show, just because of, the emotional perspective that they show in the early episodes. He never feels that closed down. And so when the lines of we're terrible people go on, it's tell, don't show. And so you don't get that unpacking the same way. They're doing a slightly different thing with it. But there's a character, I think a lot of us in the games wanted to see more of Joel not being a closed off asshole. And we didn't get that, and that's what is disappointing. But at least, yes, there's a flawed character. Taron Loghain in Dragon Age Origins is a fantastic example of a character. He does some despicable things, But if you play that second half a certain way, you learn he has his reasons, and it's really conflicting. And it's like, all right. And I mean, I'm somebody who's on Team Agatha Harkness. I wish I had more pop culture references that more people knew, but Marvel Cinematic Universe is it. But with someone like Tony Stark or Peter Quill, it's never confronted that you were womanizing jerks who, in Star-Lord's case, left a woman in a cargo hold and forgot about her. You just meet a respectable woman, and then you just become a bit of a man-child, but you stop womanizing. That's not satisfying for women, because it doesn't respect, from a woman's point of view, either part of that arc. You know, those women that were treated as disposable were people. There isn't a right kind of woman or type of woman you respect and a type of woman you use. No. And there's no moment where, and then I mean with Guardians 3, it's that this has always been the weakness of the Guardians franchise, as much as I enjoy it. But it's like in the trailers are not spoilers. It's like, yeah, I met this woman, I fell in love, and then she died and came back, and now she's kind of a dick. Excuse me, what? You man-child. No, she's Gamora. She was always kind of a dick because she was raised hard. Fuck you. You know, and so, but people give much more passes to these flawed man children who never really quite learn. Robert Downey Jr. is a better actor, and so he put more nuance into his performance, but because of the handoffs with those two not great Iron Man sequels, and then, you know, the passing around they did in the Avengers 2, where Joss Whedon just assholed up everybody. And then the sudden shift in Endgame after a ton of vacillation, it's it's kind of an uneven arc. And I don't see, the choices he makes in Endgame the same way most people do. Because he didn't come to it himself. He was manipulated by Doctor Strange into Thanos snapping. So it didn't feel like a redemption to me. It just felt like Doctor Strange out-assholed Iron Man. And so, yes, well, I agree with the original comment that in a character like, say, Abby from The Last of Us 2, they try to subvert expectations, make a character extremely unlikable, then try to win you over. And it just didn't work. And that's fair criticism. That's not sexism. I do think we have to look at whether, we are a little too lenient on certain flaws in male characters that never really get addressed because we're just so used to them. And that's fair too, right? But we can have both. It's not one or the other. There is nuance to this stuff. Cool. Okay, thanks for the comment. I'm leaving here. It sort of ties in. And I appreciate this because this is somebody who didn't totally agree with me, but they start with an agreement. That's good. This is how you give feedback that challenges. While I'll agree the wokeness in Hollywood isn't some grand conspiracy, I feel it would also be flawed. Please say I think, not feel. You're fine. I think it would also be flawed to dismiss its intentionality. To me, from the very beginning, it always seemed more like a confluence event. From a shift in culture to a shift in preferred demographics and the rise in online entertainment, looks to me like a bunch of posers and bad actors trying to wield the current narratives to benefit themselves, while activists either blindly or willingly grab whatever they can take, not too dissimilar to how Breitbart played Gamergate. I agree, and I just want to clarify what I mean by that. I I didn't think that the things that did sort of shift politically, and I'm going to leave Disney out of this because of the origins of the company. Okay, Disney's in its own boat here. But overall, there is a very cynical, just put them in movies. You know, the Netflix all black westerns, all female Ghostbusters, stuff like that. It does very feel like, fuck, fine, we'll try it. Jonathan Majors is fantastic in that Netflix Western. Watch that one. But, you know, the all-female Ghostbusters is fine. Here, you're all female. Oh, it didn't work. Back to the old formula. Right? And I mean, the Ghostbusters, what is it, Afterlife? Hid the prominence of the little girl because she's awesome and they wanted to let it stand on its merits. But yes, there was some cynical, and by bad actors, what I have heard is that people were just, fine, we have to put in the lip service, we have to give to Time's Up, we have to do this shit, we have to give a few women directors movies that are not in their forte, Chloe Zhao doing The Eternals, and when it's a mess, we'll go back to normal, right? And it wasn't a sincere belief that women are just as qualified. And I mean, that's why the relative rating success of She-Hulk specifically is significant, because that was when, I mean, Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, there was no controversy, and so people didn't pay attention to it. And it was one of the lower rated ones, even though it's an adorable show. And it should totally fit in the Disney wheelhouse. Remember, I talked about Disney. But I guess content for teen girls is not what's driving Disney Plus subscriptions right now. Interesting. And then you got Captain Marvel, which, okay, it was wedged in between Infinity War and Endgame. Of course it was going to be big, no matter how good it was. And Captain Marvel was a mediocre movie. You know, the main character was upstaged by a de-aged Sam Jackson and a cat. I love Goose. Sorry, a flurkin. But the Ms. Marvel thing, remember I said I'm separating Disney? Because the Walt Disney Company, one of its foundational things, the reason there's a carousel in the middle of Disneyland, is because Walt Disney basically wanted to build a place he could take his daughters to. Walt Disney had daughters. That's why there are so many princess movies when Walt Disney was still alive. And then the princess brand has been driven by Disney. Disney legitimately wants to make content for women. That's why I see them as different. That now the Star Wars stuff, the new characters were not introduced well. And I do see in the Marvel stuff that's coming out, they're nudging people in very, very slowly, to the point that someone said, "Where's Ironheart?" And I said, Riri Williams was in Wakanda Forever. Oh, yeah, that's her. They're being very cautious now. But I do think that because everything in Disney is the mom character, the dad character, the brother character, the sister character, right? So there's something for everyone in the whole family. And you're seeing that so much. Even like Quantumania, like that. Black Widow, like that. It's like to their detriment. That's their formula, because they want everybody to walk away going, that was okay, because I want to put butts in theaters. And merchandising, long tail. Well, you may say that is its own form of cynical. The origins of the company were sincere, and that's why I separate Disney from the rest of the agreement in that context. I do think that creating content for everyone is a sincere desire at that company. And you can go all the way through with the missteps that they thought they were being inclusive and it didn't age well, you know, like Song of the South. They've at least made the attempts throughout the history of the company. So to say they're coming to this now from a cynical place, there just isn't evidence for that. But the rest of Hollywood, totally, right? Like, totally. Every so often you get a real gem, you know, like the Bill and Frank episode of The Last of Us, that just feels like somebody had a story to tell. And, you know, some people freaked out on Twitter, but really overall, the consensus is that was an adorable episode. And it can be done. And you're never going to please everyone all of the time. It's just about, like I said before, having a certain critical mass of sanity so we can have nuanced conversations. That's what I want to do. Okay? All right. Thank you for the feedback, everybody, even the people I was rough on because I was frustrated. I warned in advance, you know, I lost some objectivity there. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron, patreon.com/Leanna K, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it. Coffee.com/Leanna K. Almost put the wrong slate up. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.